If you just clicked onto this video, chances are you're probably a little bit like me and you've figured out that drawing is difficult and art takes a lot of time and courage to pursue, and sometimes you just feel like giving up. I feel like giving up with my art all of the time, so I'm making this video for you guys but also for myself to remind myself and look back on when I feel like giving up and quitting art. Even though I want to be an artist, I want to make art my career one day. I'm a beginner, but these are the 5 things I tell myself to keep going and just put effort in every day so that I will get to the place that I want to be in the future, which is hopefully a skilled artist, but one day at a time. So my first piece of advice is to remember why you started drawing or painting or creating art in the first place. So sometimes when you maybe you're doing a few drawings and one looks really bad, or you're like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Why did I even start in the first place? That is a good time and point to reflect on, why did you start in the first place? Did you want to be an artist because you enjoyed the process, because you wanted to be able to create art that you can only imagine and you wanted to be able to capture it on a canvas or paper or iPad, whatever you're drawing on? Did you want to create a manga? Did you want to host an exhibition maybe? Do you want to put your artwork in a gallery? Did you want to make more art friends? There could have been so many different things that you wanted to do in the beginning of your art journey, and maybe you've just lost sight of them and you need to remind yourself of them. So I find it really helpful to set goals, and next to the goals I will write why I want to do this, why it's important to me. So for example, why do I want to do art? Because I enjoy it. And when I'm not enjoying it, why do I want to do art? Because I want to get better at art. And why do I want to get better at art? Because I want to be able to create whatever I can imagine and capture it on paper. That's like essential reason why I want to get better at art for myself, but your reasons might be different. But if you find yourself getting stuck with the reasons about why you wanted to start in the first place, take it like by step and ask yourself at each point, what's the reason behind that? And eventually you'll get somewhere where hopefully it's a strong enough reason to remind you and sort of motivate you to get back to daily drawing if that's your goal, or just enjoying art in general if you're in a really big creative slump or something like that. Okay, and my next tip is to think longer term. So perhaps you're getting frustrated with your drawing progress day to day. So for example, today you did a drawing and then tomorrow you do another drawing and you look back at it and you can't see any improvement. I want you to imagine your life as a horizon line, and I want you to zoom back and realize that from that perspective, from that really zoomed out perspective, you can see progress at a much broader distance. Whereas if you're looking at the day to day, maybe you're only like seeing this much and there's not much difference there. I find that I do this in not just art progress or anything, just with my life in general. I always try to imagine zooming out past day-to-day perspective and day-to-day changes in skills or anything that I'm working on in my life, and realize that there's broader horizon of opportunities for you to progress, and know that art skills and any skill in life takes time and consistent practice, but it's very hard to see on the day-to-day change. So perhaps if you have been drawing for a few years and you've taken a break or something in between, you can even just go look back at work that you did when you were a lot younger and see improvements. And maybe you've had such a big break in your art that you've even regressed, but that's fine. You can look back at your previous work as an example that you achieved this in the past, so you'll be able to achieve it again with consistent effort and practice, and you'll even be able to surpass it if that is your goal. But yeah, just remember to have perspective and realize that life is long. I remember when I was a teenager and I was drawing and had really big breaks in my art journey as well, and when I look back I'm like, oh my god, I thought it was the end of the world because I was like 13 or 16 or something and I wasn't the best drawer or I wasn't the best at art. But I'm 32 now and I'm just revisiting art and drawing in my life and learning how to paint as well with watercolors, and I feel like I was so silly when I was younger because I thought that was the end of my life, or if I didn't start when I was like 3 or something, I had missed out, or it was like too late or something. But it's never too late, and life is long, whether it's as a hobby or as a business, or you want to treat it as a potential career in the future. All of those avenues in life are okay, and you have a lot of years left to fill your days with art and progress and get better at art. So don't give up and realize that life is long, you have a lot of time, and just because you might not be seeing day-to-day changes in your skill level yet doesn't mean that you won't soon if you're getting the feedback and resources to help you improve your art. The third tip is probably the most important one, which is to really realize you're only competing with your past self. So a lot of the time, especially on social media, you will see other people's art and be like, oh my god, how did this person get so good at art? Why is their art so good? And you reflect back on your own artwork and you're like, oh my god, in comparison, mine is really bad. I feel like everybody does this, but it's not healthy to do in the long term. I feel like if there's something that you want to compare your art with somebody else that will help you get somewhere there, either via learning from their style or something like that. That's a positive way to interpret it. If you're only seeing the negative in comparisons with other artists, take a little social media break perhaps, or just realize that at the end of the day, everybody is on their own journey. Whether somebody has more likes or followers or a better art style or just is better at drawing, then you haven't been able to look into the behind the scenes of that person's life and see how much effort and energy and time they put into owning their craft. And it's just not fair on yourself, and it's not fair to them either. Learn to focus back on yourself and realize that if you are making efforts every day towards your own art, even if the progress is really small, it's worth it, and you don't have to compare yourself with other people. Just learn to see other artists as inspiration and opportunities to reflect on, wow, this person was able to do this for themselves, that means I must be able to too if I put the same amount of energy and effort to my art, and one day you will also be able to achieve your goals like they did. Okay, the next step is to lighten up and have fun and try new smaller things with your art. So for example, if you find that you've gotten yourself into a creative slump with your art and you don't feel like drawing, maybe try to draw something different or try a different medium to what you're used to. If you're doing digital, try analog, try drawing with pencil and paper, maybe try to change the medium that you do. If you do a lot of fan art, try to draw some original characters or something like that, or just use a different color palette, anything, and maybe just keep a sketchbook as well. I know that sometimes when you're using a digital device like iPad for digital art, it's harder to keep a sketchbook because you just have like files in Procreate or whatever program you're using, like Studio Paint, whatever, and you just have all your files digitally. But if you get into the habit of sketching traditionally or as a digital artist, I'm not really sure, there could be apps for it as well. But I find that keeping a sketchbook creates like this lower barrier to entry. You don't have to finish an illustration and have it be perfect and ready to post on social media. You can just like doodle in it, you can do whatever, you can create and sketch whatever you like with like lower stakes. And I find that that gives my brain at least this little bit of creative wiggle room. Try new things, experiment with my art and take the pressure off, and it really makes me feel better to sketch in a sketchbook instead of trying to create finished illustrations when I'm really feeling burnt out and like I want to give up with my art. Just try something new, have fun. If you're feeling pessimistic about your progress, realize that it's okay to not see day-to-day progress, because it's probably going to go like this. Over time it will go up, but there's going to be ups and downs, so prepare for that. And the next tip is to lower your expectations with your art. So sometimes when we have this vision in our head that we have this perfect idea for a perfect composition or idea or character that we want to design, and we get our hands and we go and draw in our tablets or in our sketchbooks, wherever we're doing our art, if we're painting, whatever, and then what comes out does not look anything like we imagined, and there's this mismatch with the gap between the taste of what you could envisage in your head and your skills. And sometimes that can be the biggest detractor from wanting to continue with your art and drawing altogether, and it can make you stop. So the best way I've found to combat this is to just lower my expectations. I don't expect my art to look perfect. I don't expect to make progress every single day. I expect myself to draw every day. Even if I'm not feeling it, I'll do some basic sketches or just line work or something to keep my hands moving, just so that I don't give up completely. In the past, I have had extensive periods of time where I drew nothing for many years. When I was studying or working in corporate or whatever, I just felt not creative and didn't want to do anything. So I get that you might have expectations on your time as well. It's just like a lot of expectations in life with relationships or other things where you might feel like you need to put a lot of your energy and attention and effort into other things than your art. So it's kind of twofold. So the time expectations and then your expectations about your skill level and what you're able to produce. Both are things that drag you down mentally and stop you from making art. So lower the expectations so that you make it really easy for yourself to get back into drawing, so that you don't feel the need to stop in the first place, is the only thing that I've found that works for me. But these are just 5 of the tips that helped me. If there's anything that really helped you, leave it in the comments below so everybody else can read it as well. And let's just share all of our motivational tips, because art and learning to draw, learning to paint, learning to create what we envisage in our heads is a long and difficult process and requires patience. I hope that this helped you somehow, and if it didn't, that's okay. Leave what does help you in the comments. That would be really cool. Subscribe if you want more art videos. I make a mix of digital art and watercolor painting videos about me learning them. Also like these more sort of mental struggles of drawing and being an artist in general, and trying to be more creative in a late stage capitalism world that doesn't really encourage creativity that much. That's kind of why I started my channel. I want to make a space where I can help encourage people and maybe foster a community that helps encourage each other to do creative things in life, even if they don't necessarily help us in any monetary way. I just feel like it's more fun and I feel more alive when I'm creating, even if I'm not making any money from it. So I really enjoy it, and I hope you do too. So if that sounds like something that you're you would want to see, or you just want to see if I get better at art, you can go follow my Instagram. I put a lot of my drawings and art there, and paintings too. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.